Radio Shack? Okay.
What?
The 80s called.
Welcome to the CoCo Nation, the world's first live and interactive talk show featuring the Tandy color computer and its hardware cousins.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the CoCo Nation Show, episode 318.
Howdy, howdy.
Glad to be here.
You know, I was just thinking at the beginning of the show, we had to say, just so you know what you're getting into, and then run the disclaimer.
I like it. I like that a lot. Forewarned is forearmed.
You can put that in the pre-roll also.
Yeah, I'll have to look
Mayhem,
at
shenanigans.
Yep. And
that. Have to look at doing that.
And teenage humor.
Because we're still stuck in the 80s. Oh, let's see. What fun we got today here. So we're short a few members today because of people traveling.
Slackers.
So we got Ken and Curtis at the BoatFest show. We might hear from them.
In Hurricane, West Virginia.
Mm-hmm. Also competing this week is VCF Southwest in, was it Dallas?
Yep.
So, near Dallas, close enough.
Yeah, hopefully somebody will think of us and call us from there. Let us know what's going on. We didn't have any budget to send a roving reporter down there this year. Let's see, who we got on the panel today? First up, Marco. Well, I'm in the upper corner here. Hi. Next up, Marco.
Hey, glad to be there. I'm here.
Special news reporter today, or anchor today. That's right, you're the anchor today.
I am.
So, next over, Alan.
Wow, I ended up on the top row somehow? What the heck?
You did.
Man, howdy everyone, it's CoCo Saturday.
That's because we're missing the crew, part of the crew.
Oh yeah, I didn't get bumped this time. Got it.
Yeah, and in the second row, we ended up with David Ladd.
Why, hello everyone. Are you ready for today's show? So am I.
You're usually in the basement. Let's see. Center square, we got Rick Euland.
I am feeling surrounded. Howdy, folks.
Mm-hmm. You're cornered in. Let's see. Next over, Ron Delvaux.
Hello, everybody. Enjoy the show today. Maybe one of these days we'll have a CoCo Cousins show.
Okay.
It is time for that.
You know, one of these days I'll just mess people up and go a different direction. Let's see. Bottom row, we got Robert Emery.
Hey, everybody.
Okay. And joining us today, Michael Furman.
Yeah, hi everybody. It's been a while.
Yeah, long time no see, Mikey. Glad to see you.
Are you back in the States?
I have been for a while.
And he's been busy, and that's what he's going to talk about today.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And last but not least, we got Thunder from Down Under, Nick Marentes.
Good day, everyone. Again, on the bottom of the list, just like I'm on the bottom of the planet.
Yeah, but you're in tomorrow.
You're way ahead of us.
Yep. Doesn't affect your speech or anything, does it?
My speech is already over.
Yeah, right. Standing on his head, though. That's the problem.
Scrolling up here in the chat, we got Tom Eric Gunderson. I think Marco Allen. Jim Rye, Daddy Burrito, Sixy, and Mark Siegel. Mark, aren't you at the VCF Southwest today? Let's see. Daddy.
I have a picture in the news.
Okay, cool. Coco Living, David Croker, And Flutterball just joined us.
All right. Howdy, everyone.
Boy, everyone's all here. All right, just got back. Wow, we need a full report.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's only 1 o'clock. Why are you back already?
He's already seen all that stuff. He was kind of there when it was invented.
He
Yeah.
caused all that stuff.
He caused it, exactly.
All right, so Mikey, rumor has it you've been working on something.
Really? I have been.
I don't know.
Thought I've been working on a lot of some things.
Yeah, keeping the CoCo FLEXable.
Yeah, flexing the CoCo.
Flexing the CoCo. Okay.
So.
The floor is yours.
Oh, all right.
You
Well,
can find the spotlight button. There you are.
so I don't know how many of you guys actually subscribe to my YouTube channel, but I sort of started out working on a lot of emulation in MAME. And what I found was that there were a lot of MAME videos on YouTube, but people just power on the computer and they don't know how to use it and they don't do anything with it and they don't boot in any operating systems. They don't, it's just basically a bunch of garbage. So I wanted to show some of the more obscure things that MAME emulates and actually show those things working and functioning. So how I sort of got into Flex, which has been my most recent series on my channel, specifically running Flex on the color computer, but that's not actually where I started. So where I actually started with Flex was on the original computers, the SWTPC computers, which there's a 6800 one from, when did they build that thing? 75, I think, was when they had that computer. And that's a Motorola 6809 cousin, actually the grandparent, if you will, the 6800. And they had Flex on that thing. And then in 79 or 80, when the 6809 came out, they ported Flex to that. Well, I'm on a couple mailing lists and groups, and I did my own video on running Flex on these computers and sort of getting into it. So I was on these lists, people are like, oh, I have the SWTPC computer, I have this computer, that computer. To be honest, I got kind of jealous with these people. And I didn't think about it that we actually had Flex on the color computer. I wanted some hardware to actually run some of these things on. I'm like, well, I could do FPGA, I could do this. And then suddenly one day I remembered that I actually had something in my collection. Let me just grab it here. I think it's this one. I actually had this disc, was actually in my collection, and I didn't remember that I had it.
Wow.
So, the picture that I have in my videos, it's actually an image. I put the disc out of the sleeve and stuck it on the scanner. So I'm like, aha, well, not only did, it actually was a real thing that we had Flex on the computer, I actually have it. I actually have it on the physical disc.
But was the disc good?
Well, yes, it was.
Oh, good.
There's still a big controversy, which this disc is not an original disc from the factory. I mean, it looks like it is. So I think this may be a replacement disc, not an original one. Like
a warranty replacement or something?
Yeah. When you buy back in the old days, when you bought licensed software from somebody, they had a thing like, well, we'll send you a disc, and by the way, you can't the disc that we send you, you can't copy that disc. You can make a backup, but you can't copy the actual disc that we send you. It's not really copy protection. I guess it is in a way.
Oh, so this is like that master disk controversy where you have to have a special disk to make Flex on the Flex computer, right?
To make backups, you have to use the original master. And you can use the original master, and there's a couple extra programs on that disk that came, the original disk that came from them. And you use those programs to prepare backups. So
Is that how you found out that, by trying to back up that one?
Yeah. Yeah, they were really screwing around with you. So there's a program, so this disk is actually both Flex and color computer. So it's kind of like a schizo disk. When you put it in the color computer, it looks like a regular basic disk. But then when you say run Flex, the rest of, that's only a few sectors or a few granules. So the rest of the disk is Flex. There's a directory and enough little bit basic program, little bit of code to actually do the loading. How you put that on the disk, there's actually a program that only comes on the original master that came from the factory. That program actually puts the basic part of the disk on there to make it a bootable disk. And that program is designed in a way that it cannot copy itself. You can't copy it to any other disk. That's the problem.
Wow.
So
what's the solution?
while this disk is fine, it boots, it works. You can't use this disk to make more backups because you don't have the program that you need. Does that make sense? Sort of what this master disk controversy is.
It doesn't have the bootloader.
It's a bootable disk. It has it on the disk, but it doesn't have the program that you need to make more of them.
Yeah, it doesn't have the
on the computer that runs Flex.
Right. Obviously, I stuck it in my. David Ladd actually gave me a grease weasel. We traded a couple things back and forth. So of course I used that to make an image of it and just moved on. And but you can't on the computer. I don't have it open at the moment. But if you actually open the documentation for Frank Hoglab's version of Flex, it's actually a tutorial, and the tutorial is really similar even to what you see in the OS9 manual. Hey, the first thing that you should do is make a backup of your original disk, and here's how you do it. And they say run this program called putboot.loader. And that's the program that you need to actually make the disk bootable.
But it's not there.
But it's not here. And to make it even worse, they have something that looks like it's the right program, but it's all screwed up. I don't know why they did this. There's a program on the disk with that name, but it doesn't work.
Maybe it's intentionally done.
I don't know why they wanted you to think you had the program that you didn't have, but it makes it really confusing because you think, oh great, I put this disk in, it has putboot, I tried running it, it didn't work. And then I studied the contents of the disk, I'm like, oh, I actually found source code that explains what they did. It's an earlier version of I have the source code in the actual program now. I dug around and found it, but I haven't released that yet. I'm still putting together a tools disk, but they did some really. If you read the source code, they did some really screwy stuff. It's pretty interesting. I haven't even scratched the surface on this stuff yet. I've been kind of babbling, so.
Will you be able to actually produce then a master?
More or less. The problem is I don't have a master. As far as I know, nobody has found one, the original master. So I don't know exactly what that disk looks like. I can make a recreation of what I think that disk looks like, but without understanding what's actually there, you understand it's sort of like it's a technicality, right?
A puzzle.
Not a puzzle. It's just we don't know what the original actually looks like. So all that I can do is guess and say, well, I think it's supposed to look like this.
Is there anything similar to it that the same company has made for other software that you could compare it to?
I have never seen, that I know of, a program that when you copy it, it basically, you can't copy itself and it makes a fake one.
Right. We're talking a licensing program, which
it's a licensing system, yeah.
and hard to decode and hard to reverse. And Hey, it worked. No one's reversed it or decoded it.
Well,
you can make the disc anyway.
Still working.
As I said, I have the source code to. I don't think it's the actual production version. It looks like it's like this obfuscation thing where it can't copy itself. I don't actually have the code that produces that, like the way that they did on the master. I think I have source code to some earlier version of this program. It just puts the basic part in the bootloader, the IPL, the initial program loader. It puts that stuff on the disk to make it a bootable disk, but it doesn't put the fake version and the obfuscation. Like they don't. I know how that part is supposed to work. I just don't have it.
So my question is, have Frank Hogg is still around?
Yes.
And have you thought about contacting him and asking him if he maybe has some insight?
I have.
Oh.
And I have been in contact with Frank Hogg.
When he got done laughing, what'd he say?
Unfortunately, well, I haven't actually spoken to him in person, just text messages back and forth. Unfortunately, he doesn't really remember that much.
Oh.
So I don't know if when you guys had him on the show before, I haven't reviewed. I saw that show. I remember watching. I think I was listening to it in the car while driving. But I'm sure he disclaimed, that was 40 years ago. I don't really remember anything. And, everything I tried to ask him, he's like, I don't really know. You should ask this other person. So he pointed me to somebody named Rich Hogg, who apparently did all the programming. And I haven't been able to get in contact with that person.
I think it's his brother.
So do you think they did not have the hoarding gene to keep all this information in their home?
Frank may have just been the marketing guy.
Yeah, Frank wasn't really the programmer. He was sort of the business guy. Other people, excuse me, other people did all the technical work. So, and he said that himself. So to answer Ron's question, Frank himself didn't really do hoarding, but other people did. And there's this thing I can see if I can show it quickly, if I can find it. This is just going to be an FTP client. Let me move this window. That's a little better.
Are you going to go to the Brian Weisler archives for this?
Well,
I mean, so
from the chat, it looks like Brian so far has not been able to locate the master.
Yeah, I reached out to Brian Weisler. So apparently Steve, was it Ostrom, I think? I think that's the guy's name. Sold his collection of stuff to Brian Weisler, and this thing isn't actually working. But this screen that I have here, sorry, let me get back to Brian Weisler in a minute. So about the hoarding, let me finish that thought. Apparently, what Frank did was Frank gave all of the, let's see, this, as I said, this client doesn't really seem to be working that well, but he gave, here we go. So what we're looking at here is the collected archive of everything Flex. Everything that anybody has ever hoarded about Flex is in this this particular archive. So I have the name backwards, I think.
So look under M for master.
So I want to go. So they have all the disk images, and they have them all extracted. So if I go into, I think it's disks, and there's a directory here called FHL disks. So what apparently happened was Frank basically gave everything he had. He obviously had a bunch of disks from when he was doing stuff. He gave everything he had to somebody in this Flex. It's called FUFU, Flex Uniflex user group. He gave everything he had to somebody, and they made images of it. So that's still available. Like the discs that are on the Color Computer Archive are these ones here, these F502, etc., 503, these discs. That was what was on the Color Computer Archive before I started, coming in and playing with it. And if you, yeah, they don't have the put boot program, as I said, at all, because you can't copy it. But anyway, so whatever Frank had has gone into this archive and is basically here. And this is where I'm getting the list of stuff that eventually, as I process it and go through it, you can see there's different versions of BASIC. There's Color Computer 4th, and here's an assembler. Here's a cross-reference tool. A lot of the products that Frank Hogg sold are actually in this archive. And before I go off of this, I actually, this one here, this putloader.txt and putloader.bin, these two here, this is the program I was talking about. This is the early version of the early version of
the copy protection.
The protection, yeah. And I don't know if you guys can see this. Give me one moment while I'm right here. Let me actually open this. Okay, I can now. I should be able to switch to this.
So you're going to be the Curtis Boyle of Flex.
Yeah.
Curtis Boyle is of EOU.
So this is the actual source code to what I think is an early version of this program that creates new boot disks. Bootloader places a Radio Shack. They called it. You note that they call it TRS-80CC because they hadn't named this is so early in the life of the CoCo that they had not the name CoCo didn't exist. They called it the TRS-80 color computer. So Bootloader places a CoCo disk extended color basic directory within the Flex disk. And it puts this program, it puts flex.basic on there, and it actually writes the initial program loader on track 16, sector 9. But more importantly, it actually explains a little bit about what they do to this thing afterwards. The first sector of putloader should not appear on the directory. Instead, a fake sector, which is linked to itself, but which changes the link field in the file control block to point to putloader. So they're really doing some screwing around and faking for this this licensing thing, and this is a hint. This part of the code that they're talking about here, the code that actually produces this, that actually recreates this fake messed up thing. The code that produces that doesn't exist. It's not in here. This code actually produces a bootable disk when you run it. So just wanted to show that.
Yeah, so the bootloader program was put on a sector not normally accessible.
To back up,
like track 41 or something.
It's a schizo disk. Yeah. So the disk extended basic basically takes track 17 for the allocation table, file allocation table, and the directory in its entirety. But sector 2 and sector 3 of track 17 have the directory. So it puts a track 17 on there so that basic sees that there's something there. And then basic itself organizes it in granules of 9 sectors. So they allocate for themselves one granule, which is 9 sectors. And that contains the basic program, and it also contains the bootloader. And so that's how they actually did it. The remainder of the disk all around it is Flex, not basic. They put just enough basic compatibility, the directory and the one file, one granule. They put that there so that you can boot it. And that's what that program actually does. That program actually sets that up. So
that would make sense. Without the DOS command, you'd need something like that in order to boot on.
That's right. We're talking about the original 1.0 version of Disk Basic, which did not have the DOS command.
Yep.
That didn't exist.
That's how they worked around it.
Right. So
did you ever talk to anybody else about all this stuff, like Paul Fiscarelli or anything? Because he's pretty sharp about stuff like this, I think.
Yes. I have gone back and forth with Paul Fiscarelli a little bit. Not specifically. I did talk to him a little bit about this, but until I actually found the actual source codes, that's when I figured out. Oh yeah, they're So if I looked at the disks that were on the Color Computer archive, and it looked like this bootloader thing was messed up, and I found out why later when I found the source code. So I didn't really need anybody to help with that. It just took time going through hundreds of different disks, looking at them to see what's there, basically. Okay, Brian Weisler. Ron, also, you guys also asked. Yeah, when I found this disk and figured out, oh, well, this is probably a replacement disk that came from Frank Hogg, not an original master. I immediately I have to ask Brian, and Brian said that the original guy Steve Ostrom had the disk organized one way, and Brian has redone everything. He just hasn't found it. So one day he'll find the disk, and I asked him, when you find it, just get out your grease weasel, make an image of it, and just send it to me, and then I can take it from there. We can figure out again whether it's a replacement disk or a backup, or figure out what it is. We can look at it. Okay, those are all the pending. Those are all the pending questions. So go ahead, Rick.
I was saying, considering that last comment about the bootloader needs to be on a sector that track that can't be backed up, you might want to run that grease weasel from the edge to the label and see if there's an extra track hidden in there somewhere that wouldn't normally be created by any kind of backup,
it's much simpler than that, Rick. Flex has a flag in the directory that says that a particular file is copy protected, meaning that you cannot copy the file. So when it encounters that file, it'll just skip it because it's protected. You can't copy it. So the program itself is copy protected, so it can't copy itself. And that's the reason why they have the extra code that makes the fake thing. Does that make sense now?
Yeah, so but the grease weasel is working outside of the operating system. So it wouldn't
the grease weasel is, as David Ladd likes to put it, it's reading all the flux transitions off of the disk. So there is nothing that I don't know if grease weasel supports hard sector disks. I don't remember. That might be, there might be some hardware things that you can't completely catch with the grease weasel, but if it's written to the disk, you can get the data off of it, and you can recreate. I provided the SCP SuperCopy Pro. I'm giving you guys, in the package that I gave, the ability to create an exact copy of this disk. If you have a grease weasel, if you have a cryoflux, you can create exactly down to the flux transitions, down to the ones and zeros, an exact copy of this disk.
Which you have done yourself?
Yeah, this is what I uploaded to the Color Computer Archive and the Internet Archive. So it's
Flex from the the archive, and we run it. It's that disk basically that we have on DSK.
The new one that I uploaded, that's in the I can show that quickly if give me one moment. Where do they have operating systems? Yeah, okay, let me just share this one. One moment, please.
I have lots of discs. Maybe I should go through and see if I have anything Frank Hog that's.
Yeah,
okay.
if you have any discs that are actually Frank Hogg,
Okay.
make this a little bit bigger. So this is the Color Computer Archive. If you go to Archive and under Operating Systems, he created a directory called Flex, and this top one right here, Color Flex 5.04. This disk image actually contains it. I've put it in a few different formats, but it does contain that SCP file, the original Flux image, as well as a DMK, and also a
So click on that so we can see what's in it.
I'm gonna do sure.
Well, that's just gonna download it.
That's just gonna download it. I
Oh.
have to actually open it.
Yeah.
You need to give me a moment to pull
It's
that
okay.
up. I can queue some questions while we're doing that.
Hey, Mikey, can I ask a favor?
Yeah.
So the Flex channel on the CoCo Discord has some links. I have the Flex user group and the Evanson Consulting and SWTP CEMU. If you have any other related Flex ones I can stick in there, I'd love to do that.
I was not multitasking very well. What if I have any what?
Any other links to websites with Flex stuff or FTP
Oh,
sites?
I have a lot of stuff, so we can.
Oh, cool. I have 3 of them in the Flex channel, but if you have some more, I'd love to add them.
We can talk about that. So
thank you.
Now,
All
Mike,
right.
the 6800 discs, do they do the same thing?
They don't have this copy protection. The copy protection thing is something that Frank Hogg did only for the color computer.
Oh,
Technical system
thank you.
consultants. you have to remember that we're talking about computing going back to the mid 1970s.
Yeah.
It was a completely different world. There was a whole commercial world, like IBM and UNIVAC and Cray and Control Data and Data General and those IBM and those big iron guys. And then there were the hobbyists like Woz and Jobs and Apple, and there was this whole 6800 Motorola 6800 community that was, and Flex from TSC was their main operating system. TSC wasn't really that mean, and they didn't give out the source code, but they didn't have copy protection either. You bought and that's the reason why they have that whole archive full of whole hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of disks of stuff, because people just copied and copied and copied and copied.
Right. So I noticed in the archive of Flex stuff, they have Sculptor. That was a $500 program in the day.
Yeah.
So there was a good profit potential in selling Flex so that you could run Sculptor. That's a big deal. So I can see why Frank Hogg was, I want to
protect my investment a little bit, right? Is this the actual? Yeah, this is the actual directory. So this SCP file, that's the one directly from the Grease Weasel. So if you can convert this to the SCP Grease Weasel format, or you can convert it to CryoFlux or Cat Weasel, or whatever Flux reader thing you have. This is the one that you would use to create an exact copy of the disk that I have, whatever's on it. If you're using XOR, you would use this DMK, which is something that's a little bit more familiar to you guys. DMK file is what we use in TRS-80 emulation, CoCo, and Model 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. For this is like one level up. This is not the actual magnetic transitions. Those magnetic transitions create a data stream of bytes, and a DMK file contains that data stream. So it's not at the magnetic level. It's one level above. It has all of the sector information. So this is one level above that. And then I also have converted, because you can convert a DMK to an SDF, and the SDF file is what's used on
the SDC.
CoCo SDC,
Right.
So you can drop this SDF file on your SDC and you can run it there as well. So there's a couple extra things in this directory. These two things here, they're not supposed to be here. The package you get just looks like this.
Oh,
So that should answer your question, Ron.
yeah.
And Mikey, the DMK is the one that you use that so that you can get the density where it has the single density outer track and double density for the rest or whatever.
That's correct. Yes.
The whole
That
video on it was amazing to watch. But
yeah.
the DMK supports that because it is the whole byte stream.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So DMK was actually designed by David M. Keel, I guess his name is, and he made emulators for both color computer. Well, I think he did model 1 and 3 and 4 first, and then he did one for the color computer. These are DOS applications. I could bring it up and show you guys. I'm not gonna bore you with that. I should show it in the video in detail sometime. So he invented the DMK format for the Model 1, 3, etc. emulators, and the first disk systems that were available for Model 1, I think, had single density, and double density is it the PERCOM, I think? That was an upgrade that came. Double density was an upgrade that came later. So the single density, double density thing was something that existed before the CoCo. And so that's why the DMK format actually has support for that.
Cool.
And it can support.
Yeah, PERCOM is probably who did that.
Yeah, that's what I recall from. I myself am not really well versed in Model 1 and 3. That was the whole world. It was before my time, right? I was probably like 3 or 4 years old when we got our color computer in the very early 80s. So this is the whole thing. Anyway, DMK file is used because it contains the correct formatting. It's able to have the single density and the double density together on the same disk.
Yeah, and your JVC DSK format just ain't going to do that because it's just an array of sectors.
That's correct. That's correct. There's no way to convey that. And that was the problem with the disk images that were on the color computer archive before, was they're just the sector images. And not only that, they've been converted. They don't have the correct number of sectors in the correct place. It's possible to get those disks to work, but not on, you can't boot a real CoCo with it. I literally started out, I took those and wrote them to a disk and it didn't work. Like my second or third video, I think, I had the video where the thing exploded and blew up when you booted it. And that's if you have the disk formatted wrong. It just goes haywire. It expects things to be a certain way. And DMK and SDF files are able to convey that formatting information correctly.
So besides learning Flex real well, is this going to provide you with a foolproof protection system for any of your software that you write in the future?
I am not gonna copy what they did at all.
Yeah, but it seems to be pretty good.
I'm anything I'm working on, I am not doing it to make any
I know.
To make any money off of it. I just put it on GitHub and say, have fun. If you ask me, even PyDriveWire, if you ask me questions about it, I'll help you. If you, and I've encouraged people, PyDriveWire, people have given me patches and I've taken them. So, I'm definitely more of the because I'm not doing anything for income. I'm sharing here. Learn from, I learned something from it. I had fun with it. Hopefully you can look at my project, learn something from it, and have fun with it too. That's more of a 70s kind of homebrew computer club. Oh yeah, you can, you can have anything I have, you can have it. It's all common good public domain.
Now, have you had experience with any other computer, like, Apple or, any of the other ones to the similar kind of way that they would lock up a floppy?
The copy protection, not
Yeah.
really. I haven't really dealt with things at that level, and Apple is extremely unique in that they don't really have a floppy controller chip like we do in the CoCo, and exists on IBM
So it's
and the
proprietary.
TRS-80 computers, because the silicon, the chip, only understands certain things. There's a limit to the things that you can do to the disk, so that and the controller can still read it and understand what's going on. You have to have certain formatting in certain places. This would not be the case on the Apple. On the Apple, you can kind of do all kinds of really crazy stuff because essentially the CPU is directly controlling the disk drive. And you can do all kinds of crazy things. You could have things out of order. You could have things missing. You could have things backwards. Whatever. The world of cracking things on Apple is a lot harder, and there's a lot more variety.
Okay, well, cool.
Which is why you have the applesauce, right, Mikey?
I don't have an applesauce. I think I only have one Apple disk. I have an Apple IIc, but I don't really have much software for it.
An applesauce.
What's that?
I bet we know a guy who has an applesauce, and another guy.
Yeah, probably. So yeah, that's about half an hour or so about Flex. It's probably enough for you guys. Are we going?
Thanks for digging into it and producing all this stuff. This is a nice
you haven't explained once you get this Flex disk going, is it a pretty powerful system?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or what do you do?
Remember the whole $500 database program? It's available. It runs on Flex on a CoCo.
So I think there's two ways to think about Flex, and I think there's distinctly two different kinds of users. Okay, I mentioned the hacker culture from like the 70s, the more freely sharing of things. So you have the hardware hackers and the software hackers, and they're doing coding and making hardware and doing things. I think that's one set of users of not specifically Color Computer Flex, but Flex in general, because those guys were the pioneers. They were they bought these computers or built them, and so a second set of users is computers were new and people were interested in using them for real things like business or scientific uses, and because Flex was there, people used the computers for those things. So to be honest, Flex on the Color computer came out in 1982, and then OS 9 came out in 1983, and just sort of everybody, you can look at Rainbow, and it kind of keeps going until you see things about Flex and Rainbow until 84 and 85. But really, I think most people went to OS 9 and said, this is the most powerful thing, the closest thing, and Flex just sort of gotten forgotten about. But Flex is sort of powerful and elegant in its simplicity, that the documentation is very good. They tell you how to use the file management system, how to use the terminal system, and that's enough. The documentation is good enough that you can use it to make whatever software you want, interface it. They tell you how to port it from one computer system to another. That's how we got it on the CoCo. So hopefully, Ron, that sort of gives you a flavor of what people were actually doing with Flex, and also answer the question why it didn't really survive.
So does anyone use Flex on the CoCo now?
I don't think so.
Oh, so you did all that for nothing?
Well, I didn't do it. I didn't do it for nothing. I have restored something which was unusable. Before I came along, if you downloaded what was on the Color Computer Archive, you couldn't use it. It wasn't operable.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Does anyone actually use it now?
Well,
Well,
they couldn't.
I
They
didn't
just-
know.
It didn't
I
work.
think OS 9 just took over,
Well, that's where you need.
and
to write
everybody
your next
forgot
game.
about it.
So,
So how
Nick, your
did-
next game needs to be on Flex.
That's the thing is Flex is as a CoCo 1 and CoCo 2 operating system. There's no advantage using a CoCo 3 other than maybe speed. So definitely not, OS 9 won out because it moved forward.
Unless you want to build CoCo 3 libraries for it.
Yeah. I, on the pile of projects is to try to port it to CoCo 3. But Flex doesn't really has a 64K memory model, so there's not going to be a whole lot of advantage. You could write a program that goes into the MMU and uses more memory, but that's not going to be built into the operating system. It could be if you actually sat and patched it and did it, but I don't think I'm going to go that far. I kind of just want the terminal driver.
You could
Now,
do like 80 columns
so-
and stuff, but
Yeah, 80 column screen would be
Right.
good.
Now, another language was CPM, but that was used with a cartridge, right? That was native, like you couldn't throw a floppy in.
CPM is a whole separate world.
Yeah, but it's another
Different
operating
processor.
system, and
Different
And
processor.
we never outside of I think you guys mentioned it before, there was some CPM cartridge for the color computer.
right.
But that's really a sidecar add-on with a different CPU. It's not
Right.
really running on the CoCo. It's just
Z80,
using
right?
the CoCo for the screen and the keyboard. This is the same thing as the I forget what the name of the card on the Apple is, but they have the Apple Z80
The
cards,
soft card.
the soft
Mhm.
card, and they have the 6809 card for the Apple.
Mhm.
These
The
all do
mill.
the mill. These all do exactly the same thing. It's a card that has an additional CPU on it, and it uses the disk and keyboard and screen in the base system. That's not
And
the
RAM.
same, and RAM.
Right.
It's
But
not the
they-
same thing at all as running the operating system directly on on your main CPU using your main screen and main terminal and main disk. Does that
They're
make sense,
similar-
Ron?
Yes.
They're similar in the sense that CPM is for running a group of Z80 based systems can run a common group of programs that aren't necessarily written for any one of those machines. And
Flex is exactly the same thing.
6809 systems can run a big group of programs that aren't written for any specific machine in that group, and they can all share them.
I
in
showed
that way,
the-
they're similar.
I showed a whole huge directory full of software from Frank Hogg. There's hundreds and hundreds of other directories. If it was written for 6809 Flex and it does not have any special hardware dependencies, like it's just using the terminal and the disk, mostly that software will be able to run on the CoCo version. There may be a little bit of porting work to get it to fit. We only have a 51 by 24 screen. You might have to coax stuff to fit on the screen, but the terminal control codes might be different, but this is just porting stuff. The actual meat of the program is all 6809 code, and it will run on our CoCo. So it's CPM is exactly the same thing, where you have the base operating system, and then you can add drivers to it so that you can. Typically, they're like in ROM, right? They have a DOS, and then they have a. It's almost identical to Flex. It's just all for Z80 instead of 6809.
Okay.
So it's basically the 6809's version of CPM Flex. It's very similar.
It's a similar idea.
Yeah.
And didn't they say CPM was a lot like DOS, PC DOS? Because
The other way around.
around.
CPM came first.
okay, well, so all right, so I gotta have it backwards.
DOS copied
DOS
a
is
lot
the
of
rip-off.
ideas from CPM.
MS-DOS
Well-
1.x looks a lot like CPM. The disk prompts and the command file names 8.3 and all that.
Okay. My brain is swelling from all the input.
That's right. Is your brain ready to explode yet?
Yeah,
'Cause,
just about.
Ron, every question you ask, I can talk to you about it for hours and hours. So
So
trying to sum that up into a few minutes is fun.
so are we ready
Are
for
you
commercial?
Are you gonna look at putting a 80 column driver for the Flex to run on a CoCo 3?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it.
That'd be
Cool.
And that would probably, I would probably start that with the Stewart Orchard implementation. Because that's pretty clean and mean. The video that I just put out, Stewart Orchard's Flex OS. That's probably the place I would start it, because
That makes sense.
I have a 80 column card that it can stick in the Coco 2. Would
the
would
word
Flex
pack,
work with it? Yeah.
you could
They
write a
didn't
driver
support it.
for that.
Oh, it could actually work.
It's all this stuff is possible, Ron. It's just the time to do the programming and the testing, and does Mikey actually have the hardware to do the development work? You know, that
So
too.
what you're saying is, if you can think it, it can be done.
Well, I mean, it's that way with just about everything, right?
I guess it is.
Yeah, by now.
Okay.
You're
So-
smart.
And
Thank
on
you
that
very
note,
much.
Yeah.
Mm.
Now we're at what DEFCON level? Sorry, I don't know if we're allowed to make comments from old times.
So,
We're
how about
talking
we
about
take a
our old
commercial break
computer.
and then move on?
That sounds fine with me.
Well, thank you, Mikey, for
Thank you.
coming on.
Good work.
What's that?
So good work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh,
Yeah, there's going to be you know, I feel like I need a little break from the Flex stuff. I might work on a couple other things, but there's a lot more to do and a lot more to show. And I just sort of want to put it out there that, hey, we have this stuff on the CoCo. It's there, you could do it. And just having fun playing around with it. Bringing something back from the dead, pretty much.
nicely done.
All right. Cool.
Thank-
Here we go.
The CoCo Nation Show is an unscripted, live, and interactive broadcast. Anything can and will happen. The views and opinions expressed by members of the panel and the live audience are their own, and not necessarily those of the CoCo Nation Show, its sponsors, affiliates, or subsidiaries. Open minds are encouraged, and a sense of humor is recommended. Thank you for being a part of the CoCo Nation.
Hey, Amy. Hey, Taylor. We're watching the CoCo Nation Show. Yeah, we are. Woo! You should too.
The CoCo Nation Show would like to thank the following patrons: Alex Gayer, Brendan Donahue, Brian Walsh, Brian Weasler, Kieran Anscombe, Daddy Burrito, Diego BF109, Dinty's Hideaway, Don Barber, Eric Canales, Glenn Hewlett, Grant Leedy, John, Boat of Car Schaller, Henry Strickland, Justin Larson, Ken Reichard, Mike Rayburn, Patrick Euland, Paul Fiscarelli, Paul Shoemaker, R. Allen Murphy, Retro Tech Time, Rob Inman, Rocky Hill, Steve Batson, Terry Steege, Tom C., Tom Gunderson, Tom S., Tony C., and William Athing. Thank you so much, patrons.
Welcome to everybody's favorite segment, Who's New to Discord?
Valheim resident says, I'm Chris. Just bought a color computer 3 that needs some repair. Have an Amiga 600 that needs work too, OG color computer, Tandy 1000X, Atari 800 XL, Intellivision home computer, C64 and a nice Windows 95 build. We'll post details of the Color Computer 3 repair attempt when I am admitted to the server. Randall S. says, I'm Randall, I never knew much about the Color Computer back in the day as they were barely mentioned in the magazines I read. However, I remember reading about their 6809 CPU and how different it was from 6502 and Z80 chips I was familiar with. I'm looking to learn about and play with all those home computers I ignored back in the 1980s, starting with the CoCo and its fairly unique CPU. The previous bios were edited for time. Thanks to Boysen, Glenside Computer Club, Paul Fiscarelli, Paul Shoemaker, Tandy Color Computer 3, and the CoCo Nation patrons for boosting the server. Please consider joining Discord and visiting the welcome section to read these bios in full and see what the community has to offer. Just go to discord.thecoconation.com.
See you on Discord.
Okay, so let's do the game on challenge. Sloopy, basically, it was unable to speak, so we're gonna kind of wing this. Okay, we're going to try to get this to work here. Let's see, share this, share that. Okay. This week we played Mind Out by INC Andrew, and the high scores are... just doing a quick check and make sure that this actually shows. No, it is not. All right, let me bring this, see if I can figure this out.
I think you might have to press a key.
Well, I don't see it going out over the air, so how about I do it this way? This way it can actually go out over the air and everyone can see it.
There it is.
Okay, waiting for Twitch to catch up so
Yep,
I can see it.
I'm seeing it.
Yep, there we go. Cover up. I just covered up your face. That's all. All right, game on challenge. Mind Out by INC Andrew. We had 12 mind finders. Number 12, Ed Rhodes with 265. Number 11, Mr. Dave 6502 with 285. Number 10, MR Evil did Ed 315. Sloopy at number 9 got 790. Number 8, Damon Beals 830. Number 7, Tasman 930. Number 6, Sabhead 1050. Number 5, Jim Rye at 1090. Number 4, 8 Bits in the Basement 1160. Number 3, me 1205. How in the heck did I do that? Number 2, Coconut Bob 1960. And the number 1 miner is Buck Owens with 2585.
The CoCo Nation salutes Buck Owens.
Boy, that's juggling.
Nice.
Oh, not that screen.
Well done, Mark. You got it. You survived.
Yep, that survived.
Mr. Evil Dead.
That one. Mr. Evil Dead. Okay.
It
Too
wouldn't
many
be your
too many EDs in there. Got me confused.
Huh?
Now what?
And
Well,
that's the end of the show.
Yeah,
We
pretty
did-
much.
We
Got
did
through that.
notice there's a little Easter egg in the list. Mr. Dave got demoted.
Here.
Oh,
It's 6809.
Oh, yes, yes,
309.
yes.
But now somehow today he's a 6502.
Yeah,
Wait, what's he even
yeah.
doing in the list?
I see that. How did I manage to get third place? I'm usually at
Persistent.
the other end of the list.
It was that dramatic reading.
I guess. So, gee, I don't have any videos or anything else to show on this thing.
So do we talk about tips and tricks how to or Neutroid? How about we talk about how you did so well? So Mark B, how'd you get third place?
Well, the
paid.
the strategy I picked up, I did. So, as you're going through, it tells you if you're safe, you're not safe. So if you hit a not safe, it tells you where you're at. I would back up and kind of look around and see exactly where, where the mine was, and I could at least illuminate some of them and deduce a clear path. It wasn't perfect, but I was able to figure out that some of the mines were just on the side of me as opposed to in front, so that I can get past. And occasionally, especially on like level 1, I only ever worried about level 1 or 2. Usually, you could somewhere towards the edges, about a quarter of the way down or something halfway down, there was usually a clear area running all the way up, and you could usually find that somewhere either left or right side, but about halfway to the edge. It's like the farther away you got from the middle, the less dense the mines were. So that's what I did.
And it worked for you. Sounds good.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I didn't really get past. I think I saw level 4 a couple of times, but that was about it. So, anybody else play?
Me, no, unfortunately, no. Anybody else here play?
Well, I played it quite a bit, obviously. I made the patch that let disc players play it. So,
and that did help. That helped quite a bit. I think on the patch, only one time did I get an out of memory error.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
that was it. Before
I noticed a little bit too late after I had posted my disk image that the original actually clears 2700 and I only had 2600. So it worked a little bit better, but it still crashed.
Okay.
But after I changed it to 2700, I haven't had it crash since. Other than that, pretty fun game.
Dave and Sharon Very in the chat basically says the tip for the game: you hit break and then you type a command line to put in your score. Just save your score to the variable.
It's just multiplying it by 10. Score equals score times 10.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. I guess let's see. I'll need a few minutes to find the game on the Thursday showing. Let me see if I can pull that up and show it. Yep, gotta go to Google here. So this was kind of very last second, and we haven't tried it this way before.
Random experiments done while you watch.
That's right. All right, let's see. All right, so here we got the live. I'm just going to throw it up in the corner so that we can all, you know what? Try this. Should be able to. Oh, this is going to make a mess. Dang it. Zoom, that's not what I want to do. All right. I guess we'll try it this way. Let's
Show on
see.
the road, I guess.
So it's just laying on the bed. Stick. Yeah, mute that. So we had what, 5, 6 of us at the time, until I ended up going to bed, and then I haven't seen what happened afterwards. So here we got 5. So we're playing 2 games this week. We're playing, of course, Mind and Quicks. That's the game we got going on for next week. So Robert, anything to say? It's like I think you and I were the only ones on the panel right now that were on this thing on Thursday.
Yeah, as far as kicks goes, that one is fun but very frustrating at times. I get a lot of like just the slightest movement on a joystick, and it can stick you in a place that you can't move in any direction, or if you're lucky, one direction. But I've died many times just not being able to move my cursor around.
Is that Quicks or the other game?
Yeah, Quicks.
All right.
Let's see.
Like if you move up like 1 pixel accidentally, you can't move left or right.
Yeah, like if you're in the junction.
Yeah.
Junction of a T somewhere, you kind of would get stuck.
Yeah, it gets a little bit frustrating, but it's one of those games that keeps you trying. I like Mind Out. Keep going back, trying to make that next level.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh, well, we could announce next week's game.
If we had one.
Oh, you haven't got one. Okay. New Troy.
Yeah, we didn't quite get that far. So I'm thinking that we're probably going to have to refer you to the Discord Game On Challenge for hopefully a future announcement to
pick one. We'll have a vote and we'll just pick one. Then, yeah, why not?
any nominees?
New Troy.
Let's have a script set battle. Color script set versus color script set 2.
We could do another basic game.
Well, at least with scripts that the manual may be spelled better than the ones I've been reading recently.
Let me have a look and see if I can suggest anything on my sorted here.
Or we could just leave it as to whatever game you want.
New Troy.
I think it should be New Troy.
So we should have a melee where everybody just brings whatever they want.
Yeah. I mean, we got these slackers off at BoatFest, so
Slackers.
So do we do a boat-related game? Sub-battle simulator?
Well, we've done the, what was it, gray something or other? Let me see if I can pull up the list of what we have done in the past here.
All right. So, Brian, that's what I thought. Paul's poker game, video poker that just came out.
That's a good idea.
No, that might be a good idea.
And of course, 6E suggests block down because, you know, we need more Tetris in our lives.
I know, from the chat. We'll play Diardos.
Oh, there we go. Wow.
Hey, I think that has like snipes or something on it, doesn't it?
There we go.
I thought Netware was the Snipes one.
Or the mouse
Didn't it work?
dexterity tutorial.
Yeah.
So okay, actually, you know
Prekovacha
what?
says microbes.
We've already done Neutroid.
Yeah, I think we have.
Fembot's Revenge. Oh yeah. We got some good votes coming in from the chat. I think we should let the chat pick. What do you think?
Yeah, let the chat pick.
Okay. Let's see. Scroll up here a little bit. Let's see what we got.
We have 19 viewers on YouTube and probably about 10. We have 7 on Twitch and
I
one
see
or
a
two.
total 27.
Yep.
Let them put in their suggestions, and we'll
Put in
be
your
the
suggestions.
panel to select.
Sounds good to me.
So honestly, I don't know anything about any of these games. So
Oh, read them out and.
all right. So we got Paul's Poker Game. Is that got some sort of a scoring?
Yeah, I don't know.
Your cash.
Okay. Blockdown.
Tetris, yeah.
Yep. Blockdown sounds interesting.
Yeah. Well, lockdown's on the top of the list so far.
Let's see. We got microbes. So
Haven't we played that before?
I'd have to go through the whole spreadsheet there.
I think we played Adam, which is similar to microbes, I think, isn't it?
That might be what.
Yeah, I think so.
We got Fembot's Revenge.
Oh, I don't know that. I haven't played that one.
Is that a game?
I think that's a new one, new dragon game.
Okay. Let's see. A redo of Galagon. And then we got Predator.
Oh, Predator, yeah. David Ladd can show us that one.
We actually discussed that in the pre-show. Whether it was turned down, it was a bad idea then. Still a bad idea now. Well, we did say the chat suggests, so here we go. What was a bad joke before has now become a legitimate possibility. I heard Blockdown, right? Blockdown?
Yeah.
Or
Lockdown was there, yeah.
Yep.
Let's see.
Okay,
Bucko
Mark B.
was asking for a bowling or golf game, if there's any. Me, so far on the list, my choice I think would be Blockdown. Although I've never seen it, so I hope it's good.
Well, if you don't like it, you know who to blame and who to yell at. As if 60 hasn't gotten enough yelling this week about X-Roar. So we're going to vote here. Want to review the list? I have Paul's Poker Game, Lockdown, Microbes, Fembot's Revenge, was it Galagon? And who was a P?
Predator.
A Predator, right? And then basically bowling, golf, and now we have color baseball and RoboCop.
Have we ever played Trap Ball?
We also have a Leisure Suit Larry.
What is there an OS9 game? We were talking about it, selecting an OS9 game a couple of weeks ago. But
yeah, that's something we need to do at some point. But
we need to do an OS9 game, yeah.
I think
what OS9 games that have a score can we use?
Can I throw out a question here about which one would be the worst for Curtis and to have to come back to? That's which one's going to get us the biggest bang for the buck there?
Leisure Suit Larry does have a score.
You're supposed to score, but whether
it has a score and it is OS9, so
Ooh, I see the connection there.
Well, do we want an adventure? Yeah, actually, we haven't had an adventure game, have we? You can all play.
But honestly, is Leisure Suit Larry something that is family friendly enough? I've never seen it, so I have an idea.
And my 10-year-old had a blast.
With the new math tutor. Oh no, that was a different game.
Can everyone run the OS 9 on there? I guess you just copy it to the SDC and away it goes. Yeah.
Nick, did you send money to 60? He says clearly Neutroid again.
Yeah.
Wait for the new version. Wait for the new version.
George threw out another vote for poker, so that's 2 for poker from the chat.
Okay.
So which poker game? Isn't there more than one?
Video poker from Paul Shoemaker.
The latest
Paul
one.
Shoemaker. Okay.
Yeah, well, we could try that. It's a new one. I don't know how to play poker, but anyway.
See what happens when we don't have adult supervision.
Okay.
Well,
you let the
Poker, it's a new game. Yeah, let's do it.
Let me see what
I'm
blockdown
okay
looks
with
like
that.
here.
Have it up on my screen.
Yeah, that's the block down. Oh. Has anyone got the poker one? We can then just do a vote between block down and poker.
Haven't we played any MC10 games?
The video poker came out for the MC10 first, and just came out for the CoCo 1 and 2.
And the cross-platform ones was on MC10 as well as.
Is the poker one available for MC10 as well? Is it?
I believe so. Yes.
Oh, maybe we should do the poker then.
So there's blockdown.
Oh, hey,
Blockdown looks like a good one.
More MC10. Look at that.
Which isn't doing squat for. What am I doing here? All right, I'll have to figure out how to work it with VCC because I don't have my joystick plugged in.
Oh, well, let's make it the poker one. It's that new one by Paul. So
where would you get it from?
Right off Discord or HIO.
It's on the Facebook page. You can download it for free.
Yeah, I have it. I have it in my my show notes. Yeah, I think it mentions HIOs to get it HIO. So
yeah, that's right.
I don't see it's been uploaded here to Facebook. There's a link.
Looks like Blockdown just crashed on me.
Oh no.
I hit space, but it didn't continue.
Okay.
We should put Blockdown on the back burner for next suggestion.
Yeah, poker because it's a new one by Paul. So, and if it works, if he has an MC10 version as well.
Okay, is there a link available?
Everybody goes.
Put the link into the chat.
Yeah, Exile just threw one up for the CoCo version, and we'd have to go back into the history to find the MC10 version.
Or it's on the same itch site. Just
is it? Okay.
Yeah, you just have to look at Shoemaker's. There's links to all the other stuff that he has on HIO as well. So.
All right.
Okay, so it would be the score would be your
money
credits at the end.
Yeah, or credits, whatever.
Money, yeah.
Or we're completely messing it all up, and you'll hear all about it next week.
Next week.
Well, that'll teach him for being away.
Exactly.
Right.
Plus, Paul will get all the bug reports.
Yeah.
Because this program's been extensively beta tested.
Especially Thursday night when you show up to play it live on the stream.
So you start off with 100 credits. So at what point do you get killed and that's your high score, or you play until you're broke?
Zero, you're broke and you played too long, obviously.
Yeah,
it's like real poker.
Till you get tired of it and you have a huge wad of credits, and then you record that.
Oh man, I want to see the video poker showdown on Thursday nights with everybody actually.
To set a time limit.
Real time. Yeah, you go broke, you're dead.
And if you don't, whatever you get in 3 hours is what you get.
Man, this actually sounds like a plan.
We have like an internet client that we can all have our CoCos playing together the same game.
Not yet, but we're working on it.
There was something that someone pointed out in one of the recent shows that we were going to hear more about at some point, where you could remote control things and do those multiplayer games like that. To go back and look for that, maybe talk about it on Thursday night.
Yep.
Okay, video poker it is.
It looks
Yeah,
like we've somehow, through our process of scientific calculation,
That was a process?
and procrastinating.
well, even explosions are a process.
Very chemical one, actually. But
And if no one likes it, we can blame David Ladd.
no, we blame Ken for being wrong.
Predator, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, Nick, don't get me started on you today.
Uh-oh.
This is going to be the CoCo version.
Yes. Or
Both,
is-
really.
I don't know why you couldn't play either one.
Yeah, I reckon.
I mean,
both.
wouldn't it play the same?
It's supposed to. It looks like it.
Because we've had games. We've had games before which I have MC10 and CoCo versions.
Can we have a MC10 handicap? You know,
No.
like 300 points, 400, 500, 800 points.
Because of the keyboard?
Well,
How Ken's going to score this, I have no idea. That's what he gets for taking a day off.
Exactly. This is not a problem we have to solve.
Leave it for our predecessors.
What
Well,
what
like
you
you
gotta
say-
watch out for though is if Paul shows up, somehow he's able to royal flush fairly often. And there may be a key combination. We might have an Easter egg hunt as well for how he's throwing the random function. But yeah, he posted a screenshot of a flush on the MC10 version, and then he posted the announcement of the CoCo 1 and 2 version, and then almost immediately posted another screenshot of a flush right there. So either he's doing a lot of testing, or
A lot.
there's conspiracy theories afoot on the Discord about what's going on with the random function and whatnot.
Yeah, it could be he has a test mode.
Well, he's claiming it's the Force. So
Yeah, the force of his fingers on the keys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll believe that when he goes to an actual casino and replicates it in real life.
Poker it is. Whoever gets the most money wins.
So video poker from Paul
Yeah.
Shoemaker. That's the game.
There's the title screen right
Oh.
there.
Mr. Dave said, how about a week where we program our own basic game and then play it?
Or
then Gary
or
would-
a 10-liner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
10
that'd be
liner
interesting.
makes sense.
then Jim Gary wins. And I'm okay with that. But
Well, that's it. Everyone writes a game and then we see who beats it by how bad.
Well, maybe we should do that instead of
Crossboat on it.
poker.
But we did something similar to that with one where we designed the levels.
yeah.
I have a ton
Remember-
of Rainbow on disk, and they have a lot of programs in there.
But you got to write your own. for
So
the
you're going to
10-liner.
cheat and just borrow.
So,
it.
yeah.
You're gonna
Steal
cheat.
someone else's.
Who's going to look it up?
It's going to be a pixel swap, isn't it?
Now that you told us.
It's
on
gonna
it.
be hacked by Ron on the credit.
We're not.
I'll give them credit.
Jim Gary says, I'm tired of basic. Yeah, right.
Well, when you've reached the end of basic, Jim, that's probably expected. I think every type in on Earth has now been at least looked at.
Well, we could change the rules, make it a 5-liner. Best game in 5 lines.
When it can't have the words "Hello World" in it.
Multi-statement lines.
It's not a
you can put
game,
in.
that's a demo.
Right.
Cool.
All right. Decided.
All
What
right,
is it?
yep, it's decided.
Poker?
It's poker by Paul Shoemaker.
Okay, poker by Paul Shoemaker. That's it.
And in the chat that's already scrolled off the top was the link.
And
So
it
is
will
it
be in the
just-
show notes, and it's on the Discord, and it's on
And
the
the-
Facebook.
And I'm going to have it in the news segment in a few minutes.
Yep.
It's
All
the
right.
third one up in the game news, I think.
He
Done.
should-
All right, sold.
Good luck, Ken.
Whoever makes the most dollars wins.
Or
Time
credits.
for Mr. Shoemaker to start charging for the game right now.
Well,
Well, he sort of does.
There's
it's available on itch, and there is a suggested amount that comes up if you would like to donate. There's the ability to send more than that if you would like to donate more. But you can also freely availably download it to evaluate it and or just have it for the fun of it. So
How much for the
all
codes?
possible.
How much for the code?
The cheat codes.
I want the Royal Flush code. How much for that?
Yeah, the player's guide. There you go.
I heard
The
that
game is free. The game is free. The cheat codes cost.
Exactly.
I like that.
if you don't pay for it, a screen comes up and goes cheapskate.
Isn't that what they call loot?
It'll say Ron Delvaux is a cheapskate, and then the game will play.
Isn't that the EA model for loot crates or something? Is that if you don't want to actually play the game, you can just pay them more money and you will then suddenly level up and win or something?
Yep.
That's cool. That sounds like my kind of game.
Whoever pays the most is the winner.
Yeah, that does seem to be how some of those come out.
I have S&H green stamps
Right.
for my grandma.
You're old, Ron.
All right, that's it. Moving on.
Okay. Let's see. Looks like we don't have any reports yet from the venues. So,
If there's no reports, do they actually exist?
Yeah, I don't know. The box stays closed. I don't know what's in there. Any project updates?
I got one.
Okay.
Okay.
So what you're looking at here,
Let me.
obviously something's missing.
Hang on. Let me get.
Power cord.
It's not plugged in.
I got you blown up now. Now you can show us.
Okay, so
A battery operated.
for the benefit of the audio listeners, there's basically no power cord on this color computer.
Wi-Fi
And
power? Nice.
in fact, it's, you can't really see in there, but it's got a
USB-C?
it's a
Ah,
USB-C connection,
Nice.
but it's for a PD power supply. So inside is a little trigger module that'll tell the power supply to run at 12 volts.
What is PD for those who don't do USB-C this week's power adapter?
So PD is a power distribution, I guess, or
Power delivery?
power delivery. That's it. Power delivery, power supply. Basically like a new kind of a unified standard. Uses the USB-C plug, but the device actually tells it what voltage it wants. So it can put out 5 volts, 9 volts.
So the
12.
device and the power supply negotiate.
Right.
Yeah, Apple's been using that for a while on their MacBooks for the USB-C power, and then I think some of the new Dell laptops are using the new power delivery 3.1, which does 140 watts.
You keep taking parts out of the CoCo. Where is the rest of the CoCo?
But it still works.
Yeah.
This one works good, actually.
128K though.
Yeah, this one I was actually gonna ship this to Europe, and then the guy ended up not wanting it anymore. So I had taken out the 512 and reverted it to 128. But this is gonna go back to being my main daily machine.
You're all ready for an EMP, huh?
Yeah. Can't really.
More room to put more mods. So very cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, think of it that way.
All you need is one of Rick's keyboards.
How come one of those capacitors is lazy? Laying over.
I did that for the shipping because that capacitor was the only thing left sticking up about 2 inches, inch and a half.
Okay.
I had taken the heat sink off. This is converted to run, with a pepper board. So you don't need the transistor and the heat
Is that
sink.
on there too?
Yep.
You want to show it to us? It'd be neat to see.
Still using my repaired Mylar keyboard here. That's
Nice
working.
fudge.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So point out the pepper board.
So here's the lazy capacitor.
Up a little. Bring it up a little.
There we go.
There you
There
go.
you go.
Here's the lazy capacitor that's normally standing upright, and then this is the actual pepper board. I can actually take this out because it's socketed.
Cool.
And salt chip normally goes there.
And tell us, what does that do?
So basically, Pedro designed this pepper board to replace the salt chip, which will, when you run off of DC, basically you lose power to the RS-232 and cassette port. So you can't
Everything, yeah.
you can't do any cassette operations or any serial port stuff. And this pepper board will basically replace that functionality when you're running
Generate all
off
the
of
missing
DC.
voltages.
So basically, every single analog thing that the CoCo 3 has, the joystick comparisons, the cassette port, everything goes through the salt chip. So
Now-
you need the pepper board to do anything off the back panel at all.
Now, another reason is because the salt chips are not available, correct?
Correct.
That's probably true, but I do have a spare. If anybody needs one.
Lucky man. Oh yeah, because you put the pepper board in, so now you got a spare.
Actually, I
Those,
think on
we're custom chip, just like the Gimme is.
on this board, it was actually fried. This was my original CoCo 3 that I had repacked, and I think I hooked up the power wrong, and it fried that chip. It fried that transistor. I don't know. Something was weird in it. but
So
that's
that
all.
was a learning example.
Exactly.
And now you'll never do that again.
Not that way.
Right. Find a new way to do
That
it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Nice. Very
Yeah,
nice.
I really don't like having a cord constantly attached, especially on my desk.
And it's funny you
Sometimes I want
found-
to swap it out. if I wanna
Couldn't
use
you
my
almost put a
PC.
laptop battery under the keyboard?
Absolutely.
And then have-
Actually, Ron, he could, where the transformer was that he removed, you could put
there
probably 18650s there. That might be big enough for 18650 lithium ion cells.
You could probably stack up 9 of them there.
Or let's see, you could take power tool batteries and make an adapter there.
Oh, geez, I wonder who did that at the CoCo Fest.
I just think
wonder.
it's
Didn't I
really
see that
cool
somewhere
that
before?
your choice of connector doesn't require modifying the CoCo in any way. That little oval shape from the power cord is
Yeah.
all you need for the USB-C to fit in. There's no hacking and sawing and
Yeah, I did have to on the top half here. I think I extended it up about a millimeter with a little tiny round file. So,
How
yeah,
dare you use those?
but it doesn't look like any of my old cases that have all kinds of screw holes and extra
Right.
brackets. And
well, my CoCo 3P is like that. So
Let me ask
keep
you,
all the
so-
holes in that one.
So when you hook this up to the electric and everything and put it up on the screen, because of there's not a transformer there, do you think the picture is actually nicer or anything? Have you noticed?
I haven't really noticed because I'm going through the HDMI or a VGA output anyway.
Okay.
So they're pretty crisp.
But if you tried the, you don't have, you have composite though still, right? Or no?
I have composite on
Because you
on
took
an
off the
LCD.
can.
It's on the LCDs. It's pretty crappy, but it's like that regardless.
Yeah.
Taking off the can didn't really change that at
Okay.
all. And I'll probably put that back. I still have it. This one has a 6309. I'll probably switch back to the 87 Gimme, and then this will be my daily for a while.
Hey, Bob. Rocky Hill actually says, as Pedro says, that's a nice mod, very clean. And he said, there's enough room in there now for a battery out of a Toyota Corolla.
Harley battery or something. Stick it in there.
Yeah, you could definitely put some stuff in there. Maybe I don't know, a floppy disk drive.
Why not just a few slots for like a multi-pack? Hack the cabinet on top and have a whole bunch of boards sticking up.
Yep. I did think about having one underneath the board, actually, like on the bottom.
Right.
There is just enough room to like solder a connector on the bottom of the board, but it'd be a little tricky.
Nice job.
Thank you. Definitely, I'll be doing more of these so that I can swap out my desk at will.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we ready for the news? Mark?
He's preparing.
I am. I have most everything ready to go. I was just responding to Scott Cooper here about paying the next week's game winner real money.
Oh.
Okay. Oh, yeah, you got to do the payout. How do we arrange that?
All right. Well, let me.
You're really truly ready for the news, though.
And how do we know if they didn't Photoshop it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm ready whenever.
All right. Let's go ahead and do the intro.
When you want the latest in TRS-80, Tandy, Dragon, MC-10, and all of their hardware cousins, no matter what it takes, or where news breaks, from around the world to your nation. The CoCo Nation News with L. Curtis Boyle. Today's special guest presenter, Mark Overholzer.
I know. Rob does great work. Thank
He
you,
does.
Rob Inman. Hey, and I want to put a shout out. I really appreciate all the Patreons, the people who send a few dollars every month to us. That helps pay for the restream and the actual Zoom account and all the other little things that we have to pay money for.
CoCo Nation Donuts.
And then these unexpected expenses like Game On Challenge payouts.
Thank you, Scott Cooper. Okay, so let me see if I can share a screen here with audio. Desktop. Yeah, probably desktop. Which one do I want? So I don't do this very often, so I'm trying to figure out which one I want here.
Yeah, and Zoom doesn't always behave like you think it oughta.
Probably should just share my web browser since that's where everything is.
Looks like you're in my time zone, Mark.
Me?
Yeah, the clock on the
Yeah,
wall
actually
back
you
there.
are. I actually am because you're on standard time and I'm on daylight time. And we are the same now until the change again.
That was supposed to take up some time.
Yeah. Boy, I obviously have too many windows open here. What am I looking at? Okay, that is the color computer one. Sorry about this. So that is when it says Paul Shoemaker's video poker game. So if I find that stupid window.
See, this sounds just like Curtis doing the news already. Good job. Too many browsers, too many tabs. What am I looking at? Where did I leave it?
Yeah, honestly, the browser window I want is not showing up in my list of things I can select. And that's, oh, there it is. Okay, and I want to share sound probably. And optimize for video clips. That's probably a good idea too. Share. Okay. This was the third story in the little list of things. But I will jump back to the beginning of the list. So this is kind of a little bit hectic here because basically Curtis selected some of the news up through about Wednesday and then handed me that, and I had to collect everything since then. So hopefully I didn't miss everything.
Is it just me, or did this turn into like really horrible pixel mush?
This is not an Apple like.
Yeah, he did this. You Mark, you're doing this on the CoCo.
I am.
Yeah.
Looks like you used that digitizer on.
You got bandwidth of zippity somehow.
That could be. So what are you seeing right now?
Well,
A few random pixels that sort of look like YouTube.
I got you. Let me turn off the
Something
video
about
for one
tuberculosis at the bottom there.
Marco, I think that option you picked for video streaming might be cutting it way down somehow.
You're good point. Let me stop that and I'll try again here. And I'm going to turn off my camera too. So I'll go back here.
What?
Okay, let's try this again. Share screen.
Everything for the share.
Really?
Okay. And I find the stupid window again. I closed most of my tabs actually. Okay, there's that one. Yep, okay. And we're not optimized for video clip. Reserve sound. Okay.
I could have taken a potty break.
You still can.
Hey, that's
much better.
Oh,
Okay,
look at
better.
that.
Okay,
No, it
cool.
does not say tuberculosis at the bottom.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so let me notes. Like I said, Mr. L. Curtis Boyle gave me a few notes, and then I had to collect the rest here. So if I missed somebody last half of the week, blame me. First half of the week, blame Curtis. Okay, so starting with the Game On news. This is Todd Horsch, I guess, of Yark, yet another retro channel, posted a video showing a half dozen arcade transcoats on the CoCo 3. Donkey Kong by Sockmaster, Space Invaders by Mark McDougall, Defender, Joust, Robotron, 2084, and Pac-Man by Glenn Hewitt. Anyway, here's the video. These are all in the show notes, by the way. You can already download them from our channel on the CoCo Discord under news stories, I believe it is.
Shout
Anyway.
out for the icon there for Yark, because I recognize the Moon Wizard there. Nice.
Yep. Right out of Dungeons and Daggerath. So do we want to?
Green's a little dark there.
It's just black, so I can.
Hello,
hopefully-
and welcome back to
Oh,
yet
there you
another retro channel.
Anyway, I don't want to play all of this. Go check out his channel. But probably we can skip through this a little bit and see. Maybe. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like he has any chapters. So.
Today's video is a little different.
Okay, I'm going to leave this for now. Okay. Anyway, he covers those games. You got the link. Shout out. Thank you very much for doing this, Todd.
Why does he say it's a little different?
Good question.
Because these are the real arcade games running on a home microcomputer of the era. That those arcade games were still in the arcade.
Rather than being clones or originals.
And the fact that the CoCo 3 actually in the right hands can do that kind of stuff, that's way different.
Yeah.
I would say in the right hands is the key words.
Yep.
Okay. Moving along. Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Driving.
Next up, Amigos Retro Gaming, otherwise known as the CoCo Show. This is their latest episode for the CoCo on basically is karate, I guess, by Dicom. Anyway, ridiculous banter. See, I love they put chapters on there. Let's hit that. See what we get.
Before there was Street Fighter 2, there was the original one-on-one fighting game. Find out all about it from the bad boys at Tandy. It's us at the CoCo Show.
That's a nice intro.
The ridiculous banter on that one is great too, because both of these guys really like martial arts and have been doing them for years. So
Hi everybody, welcome.
Catch up on the CoCo Show. This is where Curtis and Ken are. Is they're hanging out with these guys at BoatFest.
Real life.
That's right.
In
You
real
see
life.
the live
The guy on the
BoatFest.
left. So this every one of their episodes, the humor alone is enough to floor you. And if you have not seen all 45 episodes, you really do owe it to yourself to try. And if you really, really, really are a glutton for punishment and know how to use a pause button, the guy on the right, Aaron, he did an 18-hour stream of a whole bunch of the CoCo Show stuff. So you can kind of catch up all in one big dash. So enjoy it. But yes, that one, I really enjoyed that one.
Jump up here for a moment to see the action here. This looks pretty cool, actually.
64K.
Right. The CoCo, if you've got an expanded CoCo 1 or CoCo 2, I mean, you can play it on anything. And it's competitive fun.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to put yourself in the framework of the CoCo. Now, this is 1985. Okay, when this didn't come out like 83, 84. So you're well in at this point. So it may.
Oh, that's impressive. It looks like they actually use like frame capture stuff to get the actual motion. It's nice looking. Any other discussion?
Any blood in this one?
Not that I can see so far.
Only if you're playing competitively with your own family. And it's great for that. We talk about that quite a bit in the review.
Okay, moving along. This story that I found here, video poker. We're gonna actually, this is our game of the week. We're gonna play. Basically, Paul Shoemaker has released this for the regular CoCo, and if you go out to his itch.io site, which the link is there and in our show notes, you'll be able to see the MC10 version he released previously. And of course, the most credits win. And of course, if you go broke, well, I guess you could start over again before the end of the week. But anyway, I don't know if there's any example. I guess
I posted the MC10 link into the show chat as well. For
Thank you much. Yeah, this just has the Facebook one. I probably should add the HIO link in there. So to click on this, see where it takes us here.
It takes you to the HIO.
Okay, so this is what the HIO site looks like. Video Poker Standard Edition. Yeah, some things for the various games. See what it looks like. Not too bad at graphics. Pretty cool.
I think if you go to the link, view all by Shoemaker's last software, I think that might show everything else, won't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Promo all of Paul's other games.
That is
the guy who
very
made Gold Rush.
Very professional looking.
There's all the poker squares, CoCo 3, Poker Squares Original. This is the re-release of Dungeon Crawl that has the open source graphics. Here's the two CoCo games here. Video Poker MC10. So these are the two we're playing this week. Video Poker MC10, Video Poker Standard. I don't see why it'd be any different to play on one or the other. So pick your favorite platform. Okay, moving along.
Now I got to learn how to play poker.
Yeah, I don't really play poker either. Richard Kelly, I've been following him on Facebook for years and years. He keeps throwing out all kinds of cool stuff. This is his maze creator. He put one out a couple of weeks ago, as I remember. This is the updated one that uses, it says, a better maze making algorithm. So it's really cool to look at the code on these sorts of things and look at the type of games they create. And anyway, so this looks, I mean, definitely get his code and check it out.
Is that something where you know, like they do points for how long it takes you to get out?
Yeah, theoretically you could create a maze and then somebody has to solve the maze, work through it. I don't know if he's.
Couldn't this be a game? No.
Yeah, theoretically it could be. You'd be timed on how long it takes you to escape. I don't know if it just generates the maze or if it actually
looks like this
has a
one
game.
generates the maze and the solution.
Yeah, theoretically you could use to generate a maze. If it could be exported, you could make a game where you could play it. So you create a screen and then get timed. So yeah, theoretically it could be a game.
Hopefully that gets uploaded to the archive as well. So that looks pretty nice. I like it.
I think he usually does, but I'll check. So let's see. Moving along. Davey Mitchell has this, I believe, is in the Dragon. It's actually in the Dragon group, but it's basically some sort of type-in game. Crashed into a wall, appears to be a racing game of some sort. And I think, I don't know if he actually uploaded it or not. He has a video here.
All of his code, that once he's gotten it typed in and up and working, he has a Git repo that he's linked to, and you'll see it pop up in the Git repo within a few days after he posts about it.
Excellent. So yeah, I don't see a link here, but I'll see if I can chase one down and add it to the show notes.
I probably got it around here somewhere. Let me go load.
Okay, thank you much. Anyway, and there is one other game that came up. This was from our new suggestion channel. This is actually ZX Spectrum games. And these are interesting because they are written by primary school students in the UK, and they're actually targeting the ZX Spectrum. And you're asking, why are we covering this on a CoCo show? Well, I know there's those guys over.
Why are we covering this on a CoCo show? There we go.
There we go. Thank you. As far as I know, there's some people over in Europe that have been porting the ZX Spectrum games to the CoCo 1 and 2 and the Dragon. And so
Wow.
these are potential new games. So anyway, these are all primary school pupils. It seems like be working in teams mainly. Anyway, there's just a
Cool.
plethora of games they have available. And it's kind of cool to see, kids younger than teenagers that are actually working on programming and making simple games.
In BASIC.
That's what it looks like.
Well,
One
I
of
think
those
it's BASIC.
potty training game.
Be nice. They're older than that.
Yeah. Just going for the laughs. Okay.
Okay. I'll let you. And that's as much as the news I figured out this week for game news.
Oh, you did well.
Well, I only contributed half of it. By the way, I started with the Facebook stuff. Curtis gave me the first two, and then I picked up the Lex 4. Okay, so moving on here to the regular news. Oh, I do need to put in a couple notices here. We are going to be having a guest on August 12th by the name of Matt Harper. He's the developer of Wizard's Den that was sold by Tom Mix Software. And on August 19th, we have another programmer from the Contras for Sundog Systems, Doug Maston. And Glenn Dahlgren is supposed to be along too, as a co-host, co-interviewer. Anyway, let's see. Be co-interviewing Doug about the most ambitious CoCo 3 games done at that time, 1991 to 1993. So yeah, put that on your calendar, August 12th and August 19th. Also, a reminder, our show sponsor, Frank from Retro Rewind, does want to remind you stock replenishment will be slow for the next month or two due to his recovering hand wrist surgery. So please bear with Frank as he tries to keep up with demand.
Didn't
Okay.
he just trip over the cat or something?
Yeah, something like that. But it sounds like he actually had to go in and get surgery for his boo-boo.
Broken wrist.
Evidently, smoke came out of his hand.
That's what it looks like.
Right. It was
Anyway.
one of those head or wrist ideas. He decided wrist.
Anyway, our first little story here is our interviewee last week, Dave of CoCo Town, threw up a little video on his channel thanking us for inviting him on.
Hi everybody, just a quick video to say thank you to the folks at the CoCo Nation who invited me onto their show as a guest. It was quite an honor to be there among a panel of legends of CoCo history, and I had a lot of fun. A super friendly group of folks. If you would like to see the video, I put a link in the description. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.
Who changed the script from Misfits to Legend?
Right?
We had to pay him for that, but you know. Anyway.
That's what the Patreon goes to.
Thank you, Dave. And we were glad to have you on. You're doing some really good work. And also, you can see that I'm subscribed, and he has 80 subscribers. Please subscribe and like and show CoCo Town some love. Moving on, TRS-80 Retro Programmer has a new video up. So he's been putting these out for what, about 2 years now, year and a half? He's got some really good videos out. I've been watching some of his stuff too. Anyway, this is his latest installment, it looks like. And he has Tales of Model Rocket graphics. So I haven't looked at this one too much. Maybe I should play button and see what we get.
I said that I was going to draw a rocket up here. In the title area, this is the game identifier area. I'm not sure what you call it, but it stays with you through the entire game. And I've gotten rid of the sound. I just turned it all the way down because every time I try to make a video, the sound gets in the way of me speaking. And I think, last time I thought it was turned off and it wasn't.
Unfortunately, it looks like he only has this one screen up the entire time. So 9 minutes. Do recommend his channel. He's got some good stuff on there. Comments, questions?
No, he just keeps adding more and more to it.
Actually, he writes that line of script up there with BASIC, right?
Yeah, I believe so. This game is all BASIC.
Pretty challenging to do that, isn't it?
There's some one of his videos back in time. He goes into that font and the writing.
Yeah.
Cool. And that's not helpful. Sorry, I've got the little pop-up for Zoom is telling me to, what do you want to do? So Coco Town actually has a new video out this week talking about the differences between poking values directly onto the screen and actually printing using the BIOS.
Yep.
I wasn't planning to post this video. The next video you're going to see after this one was the one I was planning to post now. But while I was working on the code, I ran into something surprising, something I don't know if I ever knew. Maybe I knew and I forgot, and it's just been a long time, and I don't know, but it's not ringing any bells or anything. And I was quite surprised, a little bit agitated. Maybe you could see I'm a little bit agitated, just because, why? Like, why? So in the code, you know, I'm writing some assembly code, I'm writing little strings, and I'm just going to have it like print to the screen. But I'm not going to use the ROM printing utilities because I want it to go in various places. I'm not just doing it, you know, like line by line by line by line. So I just, you know, directly storing them into the video memory, and it's like whatever the strings that I have there are just going to go in there. But did they do what they? No, they didn't. So.
And you'll have to watch the video to find out the answer.
Well, his voice is not monotone.
Nope. Nice and dynamic.
Yes.
He's agitated. He just banged his head against a particularly odd wall, and yeah, once you see where it comes from and why, it makes total sense. But when you first try that, hey, why does one method do one thing and the other method does something else entirely? Yep, that could be a little bit interesting. That'll be fun. I'm gonna watch that one.
Okay. This is another one. Gadget Reboot did a video on digital to analog joysticks, and most people recognize that there as the technical reference manual for the Color Computer 1. All back in its glory. You can still see the price there from a Radio Shack in the upper right corner.
Right.
Anyway, I haven't.
CoCo books too.
I've obviously subscribed to this channel, but I don't think I've watched hardly anything from him. So. Anyway, I'll hit the play button and see what the
the Tandy Color computers have an analog joystick input for 2 joysticks, and these analog joysticks will give out a voltage somewhere between 0 to 5 volts, indicating where you are along the X-axis position or the Y, or in between. So then there's a button which is just digital 5 volts ground, and the problem with this, some things, some games really want you to be, for example, specifically in the center along the X if you're going to go up or down on the Y. For example, if you're a character in a game walking horizontally and you need to suddenly go up a ladder, if you're slightly off center, it may not respond until you go precisely. So it's kind of hard to play those kind of games. Those are better suited to digital joysticks, like the original Nintendo kind, where up and down are just digital 5 volts ground.
Jump ahead here. He's basically
And
showing
just
how to
see
figure
how it's
out
running.
how you can
I'm
build one of
using
these.
this Arduino Nano just to get 5 volts of USB power over here. And I'm also using 5 volts on here as the analog joystick 5 volts, since it's not plugged into a CoCo. So then I have a ground wire coming from there to simulate pressing a button. The voltmeter is on the X-axis, and with nothing being pressed, it should be close to halfway between 0 and 5, and it's around 2.4 volts. So that's good. Now, if I press the left button by grounding it, I get around 0 volts out. If I press the right button, I get 4.78 volts, which is about the VCC on here anyway. It's not exactly 5. So then I release and we get 2.4 volts. The directions into analog voltages as well as the digital button, and that will go out to this analog joystick cable that I'm going to plug into the CoCo. So I should be able to use the Nintendo controller. Here's the...
Ah, cool. It actually shows how to build it, doing the engineering and the manual and putting the parts together.
Nice.
Yeah, that's kind of fun.
Other than his headline being backwards, it's a great thing. We're actually going analog to digital, not digital to analog.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Like I said, I've subscribed to his channel, obviously, but I don't think I've looked at a whole lot of his stuff. But it's just not enough time to go through everything. Okay. So moving along to my portion of finding the news. Boise is at BCF Southwest. He's going to be there, I guess, with the Turbo 9 guys. And this is his table with his various things, including the Elanco Ag Vision Terminal, the blue CoCo 1, pre-CoCo 1. So hopefully we'll get some more pictures and stuff from there.
Oh, cool. I'm glad he's actually got those out for people to see.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot the
Deluxe and
CoCo 4.
The CoCo 4 Proto. That's awesome.
Yep, there's some awesome pieces of history there.
The Deluxe doesn't have any innards, does it?
I thought he had a board.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, didn't you get one from Brother Jeremy, maybe? Anyway, yeah. So no, that's cool that they're on the tour circuit.
Yep,
love it.
Exactly.
That's rare pieces of history. So, and also, Boise posted a photo this morning. There is Alan Badger of Microware, who we've had on before, interviewed, and Mark Siegel, who worked at Tandy, who we've also interviewed. So
and this is in Texas?
Yeah, this is in Texas. Mark Siegel was there this morning.
They're native ground.
Yep, exactly. So that's cool to see both of them, and it's really cool having both of them on the show in the past.
What would be cool is to see what their tags look like.
I don't know if we could zoom in much.
No, probably not.
Okay.
Well, I'll spoil it for you, Ron.
Do you have one?
Yeah, no, but you've seen it. It says VCF, and then it has 3 stripes diagonal, just like on the Tandy logo.
In the same color scheme.
Yeah,
got it.
Just look at your CoCo.
Just like the show advertising.
It looks like it was kind of cool to see that was the choice for the logo. It's like, yeah, it looks exactly like Tandy badge. Very cool.
So moving on. Next news story. This was the one where we had Mikey Furman on earlier talking about basically is episode 7 of the Flex OS. Here's his official posting to Facebook, and he was on multiple channels actually. He posted this in the Dragon and of course the TRS-80 color computer group. And we have a Flex channel on the CoCo Discord. If you join the CoCo Discord, it's discord.thecoconation.com. We'll take you to the invite link. Click on that. Join up, read the code of conduct channel. We want to know a name of some sort and tell us about your history, what you want to do. And we'll get you on there. And you scroll down to the operating system section, and there's a Flex channel. And Mikey has all his videos posted in there as well, because, well, that's where they go, in the Flex channel.
And
thank you, Mikey, for coming on.
This video was really nice because he goes through building Stewart Orchard's Flex loader and the core of the operating system and the drivers and things. And then you get to see a bit of drive wire foo, where he uses that Stewart Orchard's core and initial setup to go out and get the rest of Flex over drive wire as well. So he manages to hit a couple of different pretty cool little pieces in the one video.
On the Flex channel, on the CoCo Discord, I have some links at the top for the Flex users group and Evanson Consulting and Southwest Technical Products, CMU.com. I'll need to get Stewart Orchards added in there and any others that Mikey found. Mikey said he'd get with me and get those up there. So by the way, if you haven't used Discord that much, whenever you're on a channel, there's a little pin icon on the web page. If you're on the portable one, you have to like swipe to the left, and then there'll be a little pin icon. You click on the pin, and we can have up to 50 pinned messages per channel. So whenever I create a channel, and I created the Flex one, I always post the first link, and I usually post some links to stuff or some discussions of stuff, and then I pin it so you can find it later. Anyway, go check out the pins if you want to know more about Flex and moving right along. I believe that Jim Gary has a non-game for the Tandy color computer that he was working on. It sounds like, from what it looks like, this is like statistics. It's got like bar graphs and other sorts of stuff. And anyway, it says Fast Figs from Input Magazine. So he was asking for a little bit of help. He's tried it with VCC and XROR, and I guess he's getting some interesting contrasting or errors. And so it looks like maybe there might be something wrong with it. Anyway, if anybody wants to help out with Jim Gary's question, then please get a hold of him directly or on the TRS-80 Color Computer message here on Facebook group. Post response or try help him out. And basically one more story in the basic news. Marco, is it Spendiletti, has a new fix, looks like a new fix to UG Basic. So I know he's put out a couple posts in the last week. So it looks like there's been a bunch of fixes that have been put forth. Some of these may not be relevant to the color computer, but you never know. Anyway, so if you're using UG Basic, you might want to go pull a fresh Git repo from the repo and rebuild it. I actually did that a few weeks ago, so I know a little bit about what goes on with it. And I could probably answer some questions if somebody wanted to try to build it from scratch, because I actually did get it to build from scratch. Wow, show my Linux foo. Anyway, this is very cool. It's like a cross-platform basic-like language, but it compiles, turns into assembly language, and targets basically 6502 systems as well as Z80 and the 6809 systems. So if you want a way of getting faster programs without delving into assembly language, this might be your tool. And that's the end of the regular news. I didn't find any specific MC10 stories, but I did find a couple for the Dragon. So there's some gentleman from, I think, Australia called Nick Marinettis. Anyway, he has a Dragon PAL system that's having a problem. So he was asking help.
No, I don't have one, but basically it's for my my latest, for the Neutroid game I'm doing. It uses interrupts on the CoCo 1 and 2 in a way similar to what Simon does for his music programs.
Gotcha.
But that doesn't work on a Dragon 64, because on a Dragon 64 they did something wrong when they laid out the circuit board on those, in that they got the horizontal sinks going to something going to the wrong place. So it loses horizontal sinks during the blanking period of the display, and that of course plays havoc with the interrupt routine
and sound
and the sound. Now it works fine on a Dragon 32. They did that correct, and it works fine on a NTSC Dragon 64.
The Tanos, yeah.
The Tanos, but the PAL Dragon 64s has this mistake, and there is a fix for it, which basically just involves disconnecting a wire that goes to the PIA and tapping the horizontal sync and feeding that in instead. Anyway,
Gotcha.
I think there's a link on one of the replies there. There's a text message from someone there that explains how to do it. So I was just asking for clarity on that bug, that error on the thing, because I've got to take into account when I say to everyone, this game works on a Dragon. Well, it sort of works on most Dragons except for the Dragon 64. So that's
it looks like Paris Rat here has a link to the World of Dragon archive.
Yeah, that link has a description of the problem.
Well, that explains why it's in the TRS-80 color computer form. Because anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you for the clarity, Nick. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay. Julian Brown, he's been working on, I guess, a keyboard replacement for the Dragon, and he's had a bunch of posts I see over the last few weeks. This is just the latest one. He was talking about keeps getting more complicated and complicated as he goes into this. Anyway, he's talking about
keyboards never get complicated.
Says the guy who's created 7 different varieties of keyboards for the color computers.
Right.
Or is it 10?
Well, we're going there.
Yeah. Yeah, you can commiserate. I understand. Anyway, so he just talks about the switches and the various, I guess the spacebar ones are kind of a different type of switch. So anyway, if keyboards are something you're interested in, hey, this is on the Dragon Users Group. If you're not a member of the Dragon User Group, you should join because there's a lot of stuff that crosses over with the color computer. I happen to own a Tano Dragon, so I don't feel bad about joining. I think they let me in. I know they let me in, but you probably should join too because there might be something there you might learn. And the last story is Mike Miller, who was asking on the Motorola 6809, 6309, 6800 assembly language, is looking for a magazine. I think it's from the UK called 68 Microcosm magazine. So he says that the Center for Computing History in Cambridge, UK, has some in a box, but he was wondering if anybody else had seen any of these anywhere. So this is probably something we didn't see on this side of the pond, but hey, you never know. So it'd be really nice if, as it's not 68 micro or 6502, 68 micro. It sounds like a different publication. Anyway, if you happen to find a box of those somewhere, like Brian Wiesler, hey, Mike would really appreciate it. And that is all the news stories I have for this week.
Thank you, Marco.
Oh, I do want to throw in a little plug here. Our own Ron has lots and lots of Facebook groups. In fact, he probably has more than any person I know. Anyway, Ron's Garage, there's a picture of his wife, Elaine. Hi, Elaine. He always throws up some really cool stuff. A lot of them include Mopar cars and, we can't all be, no, wait a minute. I own a Dodge van.
There you go.
Exactly.
Saved yourself.
By the way, Ron, my brother-in-law, he drives a Pacifica, and my mother-in-law has the Durango, or not Durango, the one like you have.
Oh, the Journey.
Journey, yeah, she has a Journey.
Yeah.
So I married into a family.
Oh, that picture there of the paint program. What paint program was that on the PC?
No, I to make the picture of my wife or the one with the
no, scroll down.
Oh, that was it was PC Paint or something like that.
PC Paint. I thought I'd seen it before.
It's real old.
Yeah,
it was on the hard drive that when I got the machine.
Yeah, I do remember.
And I did want to plug one of Ron's other channels, which is Show Us Your Tandy Color Computer. And a lot of people submit photos of the various stuff. I noticed that somebody submitted one of mine that I don't remember submitting, but that's okay, Ron. I love you anyway. So when I streamed the CoCo Nation last month, this is what my setup looked like. And yes, normally I'm running my CoCo 3 with the MPI with the right-hand monitor. So this particular setup, I was running 3 monitors because that's what works well for me for streaming. So anyway, cool. This is another great channel. You can check out what people have submitted and look at the stuff. Hey, somebody's got a koala pad and a Model 3. Anyway, what people had back in the day, or even what they have today. Anyway, well, thank you, Ron, for all those channels and promoting the CoCo goodness.
Yes, we do that.
I'm done with the news and all the shout outs, and we're all glad you're here listening to us today.
Very cool stuff, Marco. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad to step in for Curtis here. Hopefully I didn't mangle it up too much.
Curtis Jr.
I could be.
You should get your honorary Canadian certification now from the board sometime soon.
And you will have to pick a third initial.
Actually, I usually do.
And you got to burn your hair.
That's okay. Mine's short. So actually, I usually do use my middle initial, just something from when I was in the military. Everything's the middle initial. But because I usually go with Marco as abbreviated, that's why my handle says Mark, and then I have the rest of my name in parentheses.
Right.
So leave out the D. So anyway.
What nationality is Oberholzer?
It is German. It would have been Oberholzer way back in the day. So
I can hear boots clicking.
Yes, thank you. So yeah, actually the Oberholzers were from Bavaria. Basically woodsmen. So there was actually Oberholzer would have been the Baron of and the King's Woodsman. He basically was the forester. So
you know a little bit about your history, huh?
A little bit.
Cool.
Okay, well, that was everything I had on my list. You know, my scribbled out agenda we do 5 minutes before the show.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's our planning.
Anybody have any projects and acquisitions they want to share?
You know what? I got a non-Mopar thing I could share just to say it. I was at Goodwill yesterday.
You found a Ford?
No, I found a HP. I looked at the monitors and I saw this one sitting there. It's an all-in-one computer, and it was $24. And
what era?
It has the Microsoft. I think it's like 5 years old. Because it has 4 meg RAM and giga RAM, and it's 20-inch, pretty big. It is touchscreen. So I thought, try it out. So I walked over to the station where you can plug it in and see if it works, and I put together a power supply for it by looking up stuff on my phone, and finally got it hooked up, and it came on, and it had Windows 10. But I put 11 on it, and it works perfectly, and it's pretty snappy. And I thought, gosh, for $24, that was a pretty good deal.
It only has 4 gigs of RAM.
Yeah. Yep.
But it runs Windows 11, which means it has the security chip.
Yes, it has all that.
It's probably expandable. You could probably put more than that in.
I think so. And the other thing is, when you
eighth generation penny.
It's an Athlon processor.
So an AMD.
No, AMD.
AMD, and it's so single speed. It doesn't have any, cores. So it must be just before it went to all these extra cores. But it works fairly snappy. The thing with Windows 11 is there's a program you can run to make Windows 11 work on a machine that has no control in the BIOS.
Ah.
Have you guys ever done that yet?
Mm-mm.
I try to stay away from Windows 11.
Why?
Me too.
Works perfect.
They moved everything. I can't find anything.
Yeah, Windows 10 and 11 work well. I never had any trouble with it.
Half the stuff in 811 is broken. It can't print the right size on scaled prints,
gee.
drawings, and all kinds of things. So I went back to 10, and everything's fine. So I use Linux for my shop stuff, but that's old history. That's where
Well, if you have enough computers around, you can run anything.
Run one of everything.
Right.
Yeah, because you have I don't think I have a computer with 8 on it. But I have 7, XP, Millennium. Millennium was a good one, even though people say they didn't like it.
I liked Windows 2000 better.
Yeah, certainly. But for a long while I used it, and I never really had problems with it at all, ever.
Let me tell you, you're all wrong. Microsoft Basic 1869 flavor. No. Basic 69 for the 6809, the Basic 68 for the 6800, and the Color Basic and Extended Color Basic and Disk Basic and Super Extended Color Basic that were spawned from it. That's the best thing.
All right.
That's the only OS version you need.
There you go. Best to finish the show off with.
Beauty.
Thanks for bringing it around, Alan.
You cleaned us up.
Put us back on target.
Okay. Well, we ready for the outro?
Yeah, I guess we're ready for the outro.
Bring it on.
Let's make it happen.
That's one of these buttons here. Let's try this one.
This concludes another episode of the CoCo Nation, the world's leading live interactive talk show featuring the Tandy Color Computer. For all things the CoCo Nation, visit us on the web at thecoconation.com. We'd love to hear from you. Send feedback, suggestions, even segments via email to show@thecoconation.com. The CoCo Nation Show would not exist without the community and its cast and crew. The CoCo Nation theme song, copyright 2022, D. Bruce Moore. Mixed, mastered, and produced by D. Bruce Moore. The CoCo Nation is over. Join us on the CoCo Discord server.
CoCo forever.